O să începem cu un panel, iar în cadrul panelului avem 3 invitați și dați-mi voie să vi-l prezint pe primul dintre aceștia, pe domnul Giuseppe da, care a fost director, este director la Eblida din 2019, dar este o persoană cu foarte multă experiență în tot felul de organizații și europene. A lucrat împreună cu și alături de Comisia Europeană, Consiliul Europei și o să-l rugăm să ne facă o scurtă prezentare legată de recomandările pe care putem să le avem legate în ceea ce privește obiectivele durabile. În discursul dumnealui. Da, ok. Iar titlul este Tell Politicians, Tell Administrators, Libraries Implementing the Council of Europe Recommendation and the SDG Agenda. So, I was just making a short introduction. Because I understood it's clearly you don't have the live translation. So I think the people are ready for you and we're looking forward for your words of wisdom related to how we can tell the politicians and the administrators about all the recommendations in the SPD and so on and so forth. So please, you have the floor.
Thank you very much for having invited me. I do apologize for two things. First, because I'm addressing you in English, and although Romanian is a neolatin language, I do not speak it. And second, for not being present there. Actually, I was invited, and I should have been there, but the flight yesterday was cancelled, and therefore for technical reasons, and therefore I'm not attending this conference. However, it's better not to take off in Rome, where I am based, than to land it very badly in Romania. So that was in a way necessary. So I'm going to introduce you a project whose name is TEL, Trans-European Library Learning, that has been funded by the European Commission, and the coordinator of this project is the Association of National Public Libraries in Romania, and we are, RETI is the scientific coordinator. I'm a special advisor with Europe, with RETI. RETI is a network of Italian libraries. We started 2 years ago with 5 library systems and some 100 libraries. And now, after 2 years, we have 30 library systems and some 1,000 libraries. So it has been really, it is developing very, very rapidly, and so we are very happy about that. But the focus is the project, so I come back to the project. And let me check what's happening here, why not. Just a moment. And a technical problem. I hope that I can manage to go with slides, otherwise of course we go without slides. Here we go.
Yes.
Okay, so before the project, let me give you some background about the project. The aim of the project is to create awareness and to diffuse in 7 countries the Council of Europe Recommendation on Library Legislation and Policy in Europe, which was approved on 5th April 2023. It is an important recommendation because it details the tasks of libraries in every form. But we are not abstract people. We know that at any time there are additional tasks for libraries, there is a problem of resources. And therefore, in this project, and this is really an innovative aspect, the implementation of the recommendation is linked with European structural funds. In other ways, in other terms, we are going to see how European structural funds can help libraries implement this recommendation. Two words about the Council of Europe recommendation. It has been translated in many languages. I don't know whether it has been translated in Romanian language, but definitely it will be, if it is not, because it is part also of the aim of the project. There are 5 sections in the recommendation, but let me tell first of all that this recommendation, approved in 2023, is the follow-up of another of the guidelines of the Council of Europe on library legislation and policy in Europe, which were approved in 2000. We created a group of experts, and actually the president of the Association of Public Libraries in Romania played a very important role, Dragos Neagu, and he really helped with a lot of suggestions, and also with the reference to the new new library legislation in Romania. Well, probably not very new, but definitely at that time it was new when we started working on that. We created a working group within EBIDA. EBIDA is the European Association, European Bureau of Library Information and Implementation Associations. And we thought it would be quite easy. It would be just a work like in the IFA UNESCO manifesto, they just made some changes. But in fact, since these recommendations are so detailed, we found out that we had to start from scratch. And this working group within EBIDA practically rewrote the recommendation on these 4 areas. Freedom of expression, free access to information and democratic participation. This is an important point because democratic participation has been added to freedom of expression and free access to information, because if people do not participate in the decision, there is very little freedom of expression actually in libraries. Second point, the link between library work and sustainable development goals. Then artificial intelligence. It was a new thing 2 years ago when we started the work, and now it's common business. And another point, it's very important, is global and local threats. And by global and local threats, we meant at that time COVID, but we also know how these local threats, these global threats are also linked with the climate crisis, like in Valencia 1 month ago. And also, unfortunately, this is a new thing, but we should be aware of it, and probably Romania is more aware than Italy, the fact that there will be problems linked with aggression, with external aggressions. I'm referring, of course, to Russia, and therefore there is also a need to link, in a way or another, libraries with security issues. In Estonia, in Latvia, in Finland, they are already doing this. In Lithuania, they are already doing this, unfortunately. Unfortunately, of course, for us, but the libraries need also to think of it. The main change in this recommendation, without any doubt, is the fact that there is a shifting library role. Libraries were traditional suppliers of books and digital material, but now in the new vision of the Council of Europe recommendation, they are providers of well-being. They are serving local communities. They are at the service of the UN agenda for sustainable development. And this is also very, very important, because in the current political climate, there will be there may be agents, there may be political opinions that would, in a way, like that this agenda goes back in the awareness of people, and so we have really to fight for that. But if we want to do all this, we have to face challenges in our countries, and challenges that are not really happy for us, because libraries struggle to fulfill traditional activities, and because they are under-resourced, because in general there is a resource scarcity, and more money is going to, let's say, to defense and other items on the general budget, and the role and the resources that are assigned to libraries are more and more limited. And of course there is also a skill gap. We need new competencies to implement the Council of Europe vision, because libraries have not been, if they want to shift from the library information policy to the Agenda 2030, they have to understand better their environment and the communities in which they operate. So, and for this, they need structural funds, but we need, and we will certainly do in the TED project, we need to promote a European strategy on structural funds, a European library strategy on structural funds. We need also to work more in contact with local communities. I'm aware, for instance, that in the library of Braga, there is a strong connection also with the fishery policies. This is really a very good example on how libraries can work in close contact with local public policies. And of course, we need to address disparities. We need to tackle this problem of library disparities in Europe, which is very, very sheer, which is very, very acute, which is extremely important. I'll give you some examples. These are this is information taken from an investigation that has been carried out. I carried out this investigation on library expenditure from 2011 to 2022, and you will see that in all countries, library expenditure has declined. Also in big proportion, also in Nordic countries. Normally we think that the Nordic countries are the fortunate countries where libraries are prosperous, and this is definitely true. But look at these figures. I mean, even for them, this decade, the last decade, from 2011 to 2021, 22, has been terrible. I mean, has been a decade that really has shocked the library world, because the decrease in terms of funding has been minus 30, 33%, and there has been a bad decrease. For Spain, library expenditure in Spain has decreased by 40% in only 10 years. So we have to face these challenges, and this is really bad. This is quantitative information, but I would like to draw your attention on this table, which shows the structural gaps among European libraries. And the fact, for instance, take Portugal. In Portugal, and take a column, for instance, number 2. In Portugal and Spain, library expenditure is 6 times less than library expenditure in Finland, but it is even worse in the field, let's say, for acquisition, because Portugal, for instance, acquisition expenditure for library acquisition is 32 times less than in Finland, 24 times less than in Denmark, 15 times less than Slovenia and Sweden, and so on and so on. This is always thinking of in qualitative terms, this is even more serious because look at this table. The first the first graph shows the disparity between the ratio between the top and the lowest country in GDP, the second in expenditure on cultural service, and the third is library, is the gap in library expenditure. All this information you will find in an article that is going to be published in the INFRA journal, and it's an article that I wrote a couple of months ago. It is going to be published, I think, at the end of the year. And you will see that the gap in the GDP between, let's say, Portugal and Denmark may be 1 to 2,7, so it's more than double. The GDP per capita in Denmark is more than, is 2.5 times more than in Portugal. You see also that the gap in cultural expenditure in between Portugal and Slovenia and Denmark is again 1 to 2.5 or 1 to 3. But when we go to library expenditure, to the gap in library expenditure, we found out actually that this gap is 1 to 5, 1 to 6, and this is really enormous. I mean, disparities are so big in between, let's say, in a general word, between southern European countries, between some Eastern European countries and Nordic countries, that is almost the double than current gaps in GDP and cultural expenditure. So let's now shift to other things. Let's now look at the future and what we are going to do within TEL. TEL, the project objectives are 3: to train massively some 1,500 professionals in 7 countries and 500 policy makers on the objectives of the Council of Europe recommendation. We want to create awareness among 30,000 people about new library skills, the fact that for this recommendation, for the implementation of this recommendation, new library skills are needed, and we want to promote knowledge on accessing European structural funds and of course on implementing the Council of Europe recommendation. We work, when I say we, I'm meaning 8 partners and 2 associate partners. Of course, the coordinator is INEGR in Romania, and we are very glad. I want also to tell you a story behind the scene, how much we are grateful to the Association of Public Libraries in Romania. I must tell that I was the initiator of the project, and I was writing and drafting this project. But at certain stage, I wanted to give up. I really wanted to give up because I was not more able to write. I had no time. I was really on the edge of a nervous crisis because it's not easy actually to write a project for the European Commission. And then here comes the Association of Public Libraries and they say, don't worry, give us what you have done and we finalize the project. It's really, we are very grateful to the Association of Public Libraries in Romania for having completed the work and actually completed it very successfully. Then, of course, there is Rete Derivati, my association, and the Rete Derivati is the scientific coordinator of the project. Other partners are the Bibliothèque Publique d'Information in France, which is at the Centre Georges Pompidou, which is definitely one of the most important libraries in France, also because they have a coordinating role with public libraries. Then there is a very respected foundation all over Europe, which is Global Libraries in the area. The American University in Greece, the Library Association of Croatia and the University of Leipzig. They will organize summer schools. There is a region, an administration, the Mediterranean region in Portugal, and then there are two associate partners, the region of Lombardia, which is the richest and biggest and the richest and biggest also in terms of population region in Italy, and the Association for Economic Development in Romania, but they are associated partners. What shall we do? We shall create a national network of experts, 7 national networks. We will organize training events with 2 summer schools, and we are very looking forward to the creation of these summer schools, because in that this summer school will present 2 fundamental things. The first is a mini guide for the Council of Europe recommendation, which means that we will, in a way, analyze the recommendation, and even more important, we will adapt the recommendation to the political needs and to the technical needs of libraries in southern and eastern European countries, which are not the same as the needs in other libraries of Europe. And then we will also organize a sort of mapping on how we will exploit, let's say, the structural funds. We will identify the 4, as I said, area in the Council of Europe and the structural funds that are beneficial for libraries. And of course, we will conduct extensive promotional activities. These are the main objectives. We want to reduce disparities in library developments, both at intra and interstate level. We want to boost the implementation of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development in libraries, and we want to ensure that there is a transfer of best practices, but not just the fact that, okay, an experience is successful and therefore it works for all over Europe. No, we want to see which best practice can be reproduced, let's say, in our countries, in southern and eastern European countries, in the 7 countries, and especially if this best practice can be scalable. That means that can be adapted to local needs. And the most important objective, and this is really a vision and ambition that we want to fulfill, is we would like that a special line on cultural society, on cultural social inclusion, on cultural SDG, whatever the name, is within there is a special line in the next cycle of European structural investment funds, which goes from 2028 to 2035, and that this line is especially focused on libraries, so that we can ensure that there is a continuous and structural funding the libraries. So this is an ambition, this is our promise, and of course we will try to keep the promise as ambitiously and as possibly as possible. And for this we need your help, we need your collaboration, and we need to implement activities. So I hope that I will see plenty of you on next month, where I will try to reach again Romania and participate in the first kick-off meeting of the project. Thank you very much for your attention.